Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Back again, guys. Last video we did went up over on Hearts Home, and it was a little crystal magic that we were talking about. And now we have to come back into our place in the apocalypse here.
Yes, we are back.
And again, thank you guys for your support over on Patreon, where everything goes up over there, and some exclusives as well.
Indeed.
So, multiple reports of the lights going out in sections of Israel. Some are saying it's a cyber attack, as you see this from the Iran Observer. A massive cyber attack has been launched on Israel's critical infrastructure. Power outages reported everywhere in Israel. Yet we have others saying, no, it's not a cyber attack. It's just normal equipment failures. Those are of Israeli official sources. Sounds like they're trying to downplay something. I've also seen people speaking of, just putting out there the question, does this mean there's going to be an attack directly on Israel, perhaps from Iran? Could be. Indeed. Yeah, things are definitely getting tense, exceedingly tense. It's almost like, the dam was just holding back until everybody was done with their Christmas dinners. And okay, now it's going to let loose. So the New York Police Department is responding to a level 3 mobilization, with level 4 being the worst, after clashes erupted between police and pro-Palestinian protesters. This is in Midtown Manhattan. Officers have sustained multiple injuries during the altercations. Although the extent of the injuries is currently unclear, there have been multiple arrests made by police. There's all sorts. There's chants of Allahu Akbar going on in some places. There's all sorts of just, as you can see here. We'll leave the sound off so you don't hear all the swearing. But it is chaos in Manhattan. And again, in these times, it's better to be out of the cities. And of course, we don't know the path that war will lay out in front of us, as some battles were fought, historically, big battles fought on little fields in the middle of nowhere. Yet at the same time, you can feel the tension. It's rising big time. And people are just, I think they're kind of done in so many ways.
They're really tired of it. I can feel that too. It's like they've decided they want a change, and they're going to do it themselves if that's what needs to be done.
Yeah, that's where this is heading. It's pretty obvious. And again, it's poking and prodding until there has to be a response of some sort. And as you can see, this is a chaotic situation, and it just feels like the tension ratcheted up a big notch, even in just like the last several hours. Honestly, it feels like everything kind of shifted here. By the way, the UK is deploying a warship to Guyana in show of support against Venezuela's territorial claim, as Venezuela is going to annex like half or better than half of the country of Guyana. And this will be another trigger point between NATO and BRICS. There are reports of a Russian ship on fire. This is at a port in occupied Crimea. And there was other damage done, multiple Ukrainian strikes, drones, that took out different items, different targets. For the first time, the French were defeated by Niger. The French military has removed all equipment from Niger. Soon, the last soldiers will be withdrawn. It's noteworthy that Paris closed all its diplomatic missions in the African Republic. And, this might not get noticed by many, but at the same time, this is a switching of the power. As we've been saying, NATO and in the U.S. are the past, and the power is shifting to BRICS. Meanwhile, the U.S. declares large parts in the Arctic on the border with Russia as its own. amid tensions with Moscow. As you can see this up here. Yeah, this is another bone of contention, and we saw a Coast Guard cutter circumvent this area and actually encircle the entire globe, made its way back to Seattle, Washington area, where it had left from, and it spent a lot of time up here. And at the same time, there's been an awful lot of Russian activity. Interesting in my mind, I was almost going to say Soviet, and it's been a long time since we said Soviet. But Putin's top general in charge of Russia's Satan II doomsday nuclear weapons suddenly arrested? That's strange. So General Oleg Frolov, 61, deputy director of the Russian space agency Roscosmos, was held along with two other alleged co-conspirators. He's the deputy director of the Russian space agency, accused of stealing 4 million pounds from the Russian state. Interesting. 4 million rubles. It looks like the symbol for pounds, unless I'm mistaken. But, again, shakeups in high places geopolitically, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a whole bunch more go on, because, you're not going to always find agreement, especially when it comes to starting big events, just like WW3. And of course, all the corruption in this world is really getting exposed to all new levels, but there's a lot more to be exposed.
Oh, I know. This is just the beginning, really, in so many ways.
It is. Going back to Serbia, I was noticing in Russia today, this morning, they were talking about basically blaming the apparent attempted coup in Serbia on Western forces, U.S., etc. And it's interesting, again, to note the ties that the president there does have with the WEF, because, again, there have been outcries against the WEF from Putin and from Russia. And yet, at the same time, if this is a WEF puppet, wouldn't you want him removed? So, again, it's just a convoluted mess right now. And the reality is all the politicians are basically puppets when we get down to it. So, here you go. It's just another point of tension. The whole world is just like a massive powder keg. This is from Zero Hedge, and we were alluding to this in an earlier video, and we've talked about it weeks ago as well. Mass migration blueprints reveal NGOs carefully planned U.S. migrant invasion. Yeah, because when you look into these maps, which basically are showing routes and everything you need to know about facilities along the way, places to stay. This is UN. This is what we've been saying. Doctors Without Borders, UN. It's totally a UN project. The mass migration that you're seeing going on right now is completely, being orchestrated by the United Nations. All these rumors, there's no substantiation for that. Give me the facts. Yeah, and fact checkers say this, fact checkers say that. Fact checkers are paid shills. That's the truth. They're nothing but paid shills. The reality is this is a UN operation. And the UN itself might not exist in the near future. But, again, they have all that planned for, and they have their next plan just ready to be rolled out.
Mm-hmm. And look at this, what we're looking at here. Somebody runs into a group of migrants from Guinea headed to New York, and they had documents from Catholic Community Services. That's very curious to me.
And it's not just that it's Catholic. Again, churches in general have been used as fronts. And this is like what we have alluded to, and we're speaking very plainly. I'm speaking very plainly. Okay, demonetized. Well, thank you guys again for your support on Patreon. That's the reality. They've obviously been used as tax fronts, get away with paying taxes and everything, just become a non-profit, pop a church up somewhere. And yet it could be a front and is a front for so many more things, so often the case. And of course, it doesn't get any deeper and darker than what exists in the Vatican vault. I mean, that's truly the pits of Hades down there. Look at what the science has taught us. This is Robert Lufkin, by the way, an MD. Oh, yeah, these are real ads. Look. More doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. So you're saying it's okay to smoke cigarettes. They were. No flies on me thanks to DDT. What? That's real. Heroin hydrochloride. Kid you not. Take 2 to 3. Taken only by order of the physician, though. Bear Company. Let this magic mineral protect your buildings on your farm. Asbestos. Yes, to get cancer later. We could go on and on and on with things that have been approved by the mainstream medical system. And one after another, they've been proven to be life takers. Life takers. How could we possibly trust anything in the system? By the way, David Icke hasn't been wrong. He's been way ahead of the game. Way, way, way ahead of the game. Yes. And these deer are no fools. They said, wait a minute. Hey, what are you doing here? Hey, this is our yard. Get out of here.
I know. They're beating up the posers.
You watch out when Bambi gets mad.
Indeed.
You ever see that movie, Bambi versus Godzilla? No. It really was a movie. Bambi versus Godzilla. I will wait to see comments on those that saw Bambi versus Godzilla.
Oh, joy.
As always, guys, stay prepared. Keep putting out the positive vibes. Join us over on HeartsOMMM or join us on Patreon. Much love. Source bless. Namaste.
Namaste.